Good. Good afternoon, I think we are.
Good afternoon.
So welcome to the Moore and Jeffrey Cooking Show. I hope you had a good morning. Really good news about students coming back to school from the 8th of March. We're really pleased about that. I will be sending a big letter home on Friday explaining all the details behind that. So, cooking, Mr. Moore, what are we cooking today?
Right. Today, I am going to do one of my favourite. My girls love this. I'm going to do a starter of poached egg on toast, a posher version of it. Yourself?
I'm doing a bit of a Jeffrey recipe, a Jeffrey Spanish omelette.
So we've got lots of eggs involved.
Yeah, how do you like eggs?
Yeah, it's nice and simple.
So we need to wash our hands.
We do. Tie hair back first. We need to wash our hands.
Do that very slowly.
We've been instructed to do things very slowly this week.
So in the background, Mrs. Laura is just, I'd say, nagging me today. So if we speak really slowly, it's because Mrs. Laura's told us to do. So hands washed. Where's my bin? Oh, my bin is over there. So before we do Mr. Moore's starter, we need to get some potatoes going for my Spanish omelette. So we're going to do that first because we don't want to have hard potatoes. No one likes hard potatoes. So we had a bit of a potato crisis this morning, but we've just about managed to find enough potatoes. So my omelette's going to probably be enough for 2 people. Okay. So I've got two small omelettes and 2 small potatoes. You've got even smaller potatoes. You can have one big one, but we're making do with what we've got. So we're going to peel our potatoes first, and we're going to put them in a pan. I've got a pan like this. I think we have a bit of a technical problem.
Yeah, we do.
No, we're still good?
Yeah, still there.
So we're going to have a pan about this size. We're going to put some oil in the pan. So we can do that first. Let's put a bit of oil in our pan. So I'm just going to use sunflower oil. What have you got there?
Just a bit of olive oil.
Not a problem. Maybe a little bit more than that, Mr. Moore. So there we go. If I can show you on the screen. So I've just covered the base there. I'm going to deep fry them. And then we'll turn that on to sort of a medium heat. There we go. So we get that going, and then we're going to peel. We don't have to peel the potatoes.
I'm not going to peel mine. They're really small, and I'm conscious of losing skin, so I'm not going to peel mine.
Right.
They have been washed though.
So, horrible here. Just bear with me whilst I peel mine. People peel them at home. So it's up to you, really. Personal preference. So I don't like this peel. But we're getting there.
So am I slicing this or dicing it?
We are going to put them into cubes. Fairly small cubes. Normally, if I was doing this at home, I'd make them sort of centimetres cubed.
Okay.
But I'm thinking because we want to make sure these are cooked and we're live, we're going to be slightly smaller.
Slightly small.
If I just, you make me a cube, Mr. Moore, whilst I peel, and then I'll see whether I think it's big enough.
If I cube more cube oil.
I think you're going to struggle with the size of your potato. So a big potato would have been easier. Right, I'm nearly there. So I've got my peeled potatoes. Mr. Moore's not got his peeled potatoes. I've got a sharp knife somewhere. Yeah, that is perfect, Mr. Moore. I don't know if you want to, while I'm cutting, want to show your size of potatoes to the screen.
There we are.
So I'm nearly there.
So is this another Jeffrey household favourite?
Well, this one claims to be from my mum. She was always a favourite when I was a child. I wouldn't say Mum, but I'm careful. It's my mum might be watching. I'd say my mum's the greatest cook, but she does cook a good omelette. And it's not like a fluffy omelette that you would get maybe in England. It's more of a sort of Spanish tortilla-y type of omelette. So let's just make mine a little bit smaller. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our potatoes into our pan of oil. So here's my potatoes. We're going to stick them in there. I'm going to turn my heat up just a tiny bit. My heat is on. Yeah, my heat is on. And whilst Mr. Moore is cooking, we've got to remember our potatoes are there, and we might want to just turn them around a little bit so they're getting to be sort of goldeny brown on all sides of our beautiful cuboids. Okay, so don't forget about those. I reckon your heat might be a little bit high.
It's a bit big, that one. So I'm going to turn this to a smaller rim.
So that is going along nicely at home, hopefully. You've got your potatoes just frying off fairly gently. Don't forget about them. Right, so we'll park my dish for the moment.
Okay,
So back to it later.
Poached eggs on toast. Now, normally I would do this for my girls, and I would do them 2 for a main meal, but for starters, just 1 egg will do. I suggest you put the kettle on. So, pop the kettle on. We've got ours on at the moment. Mr. Jeffrey, you want to just pop yours on? We have boiled that already. Now, it's poached eggs on toast, so you should have something to toast. A baguette, sliced bread will do, anything like that will do. Mr. Jeffrey, you've got your baguette there.
Can you do a little recap? Because some kids have joined later.
A little recap.
Little recap for those who are joining.
People. Right, so we just do a little recap. So all we've done so far.
This is the starter, or this is the main?
This is for the main.
Okay.
So if you've just joined us, so we've chopped up and peeled, but you didn't have to peel, some potatoes. So I show my pan, and we're just frying off gently some little diced potatoes in a pan of oil. That's all we've done so far. But that is for the main dish, but we just need to get those potatoes cooking. And I wish Myra would heat up a bit. So that's all we've done so far, and that's going to take about, hopefully, the time it takes for the starter to be cooked. So that's all we've done, nothing else. Mr. Moore is just boiling a kettle, and that's where we're up to.
Okay, so my kettle's boiled. Mr. Jeffrey's sprouted box. I'm going to slice out baguette. Now I like to put my egg obviously onto the toast, but with the baguette, if you slice it diagonally, you'll get a larger surface area, a bit of maths there. So we take our knife. Now, if you want to do a couple of pieces, that's up to you. I am going to do 2 pieces, even though I'm probably only going to do 1 like that.
There we go.
Okay. So slice them diagonally, a little bit bigger. We pop those in the toaster.
We're popping it down.
Pop them down, yeah, pop them down. I don't know about you, I quite like my toast to cool down so that when I butter it, it's not soggy. I don't like soggy toast.
Is that a normal thing, Mr. Moore?
It might be, might well be a normal thing.
I'm just going to turn my toast down a bit, actually.
Now, mine okay?
Yours are looking absolutely great. Yours are looking perfect size. I'm thinking mine is slightly big, but never mind.
Okay. Right, I need to get the actual egg going. Now, this is Mr. Moore's top tip. I like to think I've invented this. I'm sure I'm not the only person to do this. But when you drop your egg into the water, often the white just disperses. So I use a pastry cutter to hold it in place. Now, they do come in sets. And obviously, you've got the different sizes. I find that if you put it into the smaller size, because of the depth of it, it will take longer than the larger size. If you have a serrated one, do it upside down. You don't want serrations to be long. So I'll pop that into my other frying pan one, and with my boiled water, that goes into.
Do I want my whole on, Mr.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go to that one.
Okay. Now this again also needs to be on a very low heat, so as low as you can get it, because you're the wrong one. There we go.
Mr. Moore, I've never poached an egg in my life.
Never poached an egg in your life. Right. Different ways of doing it. People do it different ways. This is Mr. Moore's way. The trick is not to burst the yolk. So if you just drop that in, no, the other way up, that's it. Okay. So on the side of the pan. And then we break this into there, like so.
Are you happy I crack on? Because I'm worried about my hob not being very.
Is it low? Is it on low?
It's on high because it takes a long time to heat up.
Oh, okay.
But I'll remember to bring it back down. Right, so here we go.
Perfect.
Good start.
Perfect. Good stuff. Okay.
Check your toast. Good.
All good? Okay. Now, whilst the egg, it normally takes around about only 10 minutes for a poached egg, thereabout. Again, another little trick, you give the pan a little bit of a wobble, you can see how solid your egg is. What we're actually going to do is prepare a little bit of an underlay that's going to go on top of the toast, and then the egg's going to go on top.
Right, okay.
So what we're going to do, we're going to take our bacon, we're going to take another little saucepan, and we're just going to fry a little bit of bacon. So I'm not going to use any oil, I'm going to put the bacon straight in. Now I think an underrated tool of the kitchen is a pair of scissors. Certainly for cutting bacon. All right, rather than sharp knives, we just take our bacon. We're going to
a lot of hands going on here.
A lot of hands going on at the moment. So I'm just going to slice this up, chop this into small little pieces into the pan and fry it up.
Right, straight in the pan. You put more in there, I missed that.
I didn't put any in because bacon's quite fatty anyway.
You know what? I'm going to, just because this pan looks like it's been around.
It does look a little bit
How
less.
old is Wesley Middle School?
About as old as me, I think.
So it's about 60 years old, so I'm going to put some oil in there. Right, so sorry, what very small bits.
Just small little bits, yeah.
Lovely tip about the scissors with small.
Well, when I'm making a curry, I often cut the chicken with scissors. I just find it so much easier.
Curry, maybe that's next week. If we really have suggestions,
Oh, yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
We've got one more week of these live Wednesday lessons, so we've been really, really impressed to see people's pictures of what you've been cooking at home. So maybe we could have some suggestions on what you want Chef Moore and Jeffrey to cook next week.
We do with the desserts, I think.
I think so. One that we can cook in the time. Yeah.
Now, I am going to wash my hands because I've just touched raw pork, yes. And get this thing going.
So, okay, I need another wooden spoon, I think.
Might be one for you all.
Here we go, perfect. So my egg maybe needs to slow down a bit.
It does. I take that off the heat, if I were you.
Right.
Just take that off the hot water itself will actually continue to cook the egg anyway.
All right. Well, how's your potatoes going? So I don't
Looking pretty good, actually.
The potatoes should be starting just to brown off a little bit now. I wish I'd cut mine a tiny bit smaller, but we're getting there. It's all good. Okay, so on the bacon, this is a better one.
That's looking pretty good, actually, Jeffrey. I reckon now you've got time for your maple syrup. Now I'm going to use golden syrup. I didn't say any syrup would do, but maple syrup is my favourite for this one. I've given you my maple syrup.
Oh, very wrong.
Nice, so put a little drop of that in with the bacon.
Can we do another recap of what we're making, please, for the late joiners who'd like to know?
Right, okay, so
Got 120 people viewing,
this is
so
good, this is good.
we just
So-
need to do a recap every so often.
Right, I will start the recap because we're doing a starter and a main, and we started the main by chopping up, or we peeled if you wanted to, and chopped up one big or two small potatoes, and they are sizzling away, lightly frying, browning off nicely in some oil on that pan, and that's going to be used for our Jeffrey family recipe, Spanish omelette, in a moment. But meanwhile, Mr. Moore, what have you done?
We are poaching an egg. So, boiling water into the pan. I've actually used a pastry cutter to keep the egg in one place. All right? And whilst that is cooking, about 10 minutes, I reckon, we are frying some bacon with some syrup in there. Maple syrup is my preferred favourite. And now I'm going to slice my tomato. Nice and big, nice big slices.
What did we mention about the toast?
Oh, sorry, the toast is done. My toast is done there. I'm going to cut this 2 large slices of my tomato.
So am I doing the same?
Same. Do you eat tomatoes?
Well, I have a bit of a thing with seeds, but it's
And then I'm going to go in with the bacon. Okay, just to brown off a little bit, just crisp the edges just that little bit.
So I'm going to take the seeds out of my top.
That's fine.
That's not me just being fussy about seeds. No. Right, smelling good again in this kitchen. Might just turn that down again. Don't forget your potatoes. Oh, eggs going along a bit fast again. It's all happening here. Goodness knows what's happening at home in people's kitchens.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm gonna just give my potatoes a little bit of a one of those. Oh, where's that come from? Goodness me. Right, okay, I'm good.
Okay, we're all good then.
Yeah.
Right, I'm actually going to butter my toast now. I'll put it on my serving plate. You've got a little dish of margarine there. I think I've left it in the fridge. I'll get it out for you.
Thank you very much.
You should have a knife there to put through it.
Easy. Are we getting any feedback, Mrs. Laura, people making this at home, or are they just having panic in the
We've
kitchen?
got 134 people viewing. I think they aren't chatting very much because they're very busy. This is a very busy cooking session.
And have we got any fire engines that have?
I'm just asking, how is it in your kitchen at home? So if you want to comment, how are you getting on? Are you keeping up?
I have a vision of some parents that are putting their hair out thinking, what are you doing, Mrs. Laura?
Yeah, hopefully you're being neat and tidy, and of course you're going to tidy up afterwards. And the feedback is everybody's doing great at home. So far, so good.
Excellent.
Well, I reckon my bacon and tomatoes are ready, so I'm now going to spoon this onto my toast.
Going a little bit quick, and it's going crazy in Ellie Fancy's kitchen. So
Crazy kitchen's good. I'm just going to give my bacon just a little bit more.
and they think there's a lot of washing up after this meal.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mrs. Law, for volunteering.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Very decent of you. I've got a meeting I've got to shoot off to. Right, so I assume some more you put that in your plate. Fantastic. What we're going to, so we don't get told off for using 500 pans, we're going to wash that pan up. Well, I'm going to use this pan again.
Yeah.
That's cheating, Mr. Law. That wasn't part of the rehearsal.
So show us what you've made already.
My tomato and bit toast at the moment, and we're just waiting for poached egg. I'm going to give it another little shake. This comes from experience, really, quite a few times. Just a little bit more time. Okay, it's nearly there. It's a bit of a wobble. Yeah, it's not far off. Depending on how you like your eggs, to be fair.
No,
You good with that?
Yeah, good. I'm just going to nip over here and not burn my fingers and wash my pan up. Splash, splash, splash.
It's also very loud in the Beha household because the potatoes are very sizzly.
I'll maybe turn them down a bit there. You don't want them to be crispy on the outside and raw in the middle. That would not be good. Where's my spoon gone? Lost my wooden spoon, did it?
It's there, it's down the back. It's fallen down the back.
Oh, thank you.
Quite a few people are watching and they're going to try this for dinner.
Lovely. Excellent.
Some people have left out the meat, the bacon, for various reasons, but it should be just as lovely, I would expect.
Top stuff. Right, so.
Right, I think we're ready with the poached egg now. Now, this is the bit that I really don't like because you can burn your hands. You can use tongs for this, but my girl said I got asbestos hands, so I'm generally all right with this. You might want to get an adult to help you. But what I generally do, I take a knife. This sounds awful. Mums are thinking, oh, my non-stick pan. Please be careful. What I'm going to do, I'm going to hold the pastry cutter very
Which will be hot.
and just slice around the outside because the egg will have stuck to the pastry cutter just that little bit. Okay. Then I give it a bit of a shimmy, there we go, it's loose. So that can now come out. There we go.
Oh, they look great.
I wish I'd used a smaller one now, if I'm honest. And because I've used a frying pan, it's quite easy to now use a spatula to get your egg out underneath it. And I do give it a little wobble, get it on there. I'm hoping not to burst it. Just let it drain a little bit.
Oh dear.
And then, there we are.
Oh no, Mr. Jeffries has slid.
Right, oh, we're back in the game. I'm making a mess. Just turn my potato right down here.
And there is my...
I feel like I need a bit of pepper.
Yes,
There's a
Mr.
tiny
Warren
little
did
bit.
do salt and pepper already.
little bit there.
That looks
There
like
we
a
go.
raw egg.
Look at that. Happy days, Mr. I think we need to try, don't we?
We do.
I'd say I think I have my water on a little bit too high, like you told me not to.
Possibly. But it depends on how you like your egg.
Fair enough, right, yeah, but I'm happy with that. So whilst we're eating, Just make sure, I'll turn your potatoes right down now, Mr. Moore. So we need to just eat, don't we? We need to try something.
If you've made the starter, then yeah, dig in.
Get rid of that. Let's pretend there, I'll put the leg down there. Get rid of that. A minute. Need a fork. Oh, look at that. I feel like I want to lift it up and put it in my mouth. That's probably going to be okay. What did you not like about it?
But you know what? I've actually adapted this. This sounds really weird. I normally do it with asparagus. But I don't think it's asparagus season at the moment.
That is absolutely lovely, Mr. Moore.
Show what you show it.
Oh, they were eating? I've already seen it.
I want to see it again.
So Miss Braun's in the background. Would you have something like this, Miss Braun? You told me you'd never had a poached egg.
I definitely would, yeah. Just gluten-free bread.
Gluten-free bread?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next week.
Do we think your challenge next week should be gluten-free and vegetarian so that Miss Brown and I can eat it?
Okay. I'll take that challenge. So next week I'm cooking a gluten-free vegetarian.
Something.
Okay.
Don't say puddings, that would be difficult.
No, Mr. Moore's doing pudding. Happy with this, very nice.
Looks good.
Well, it was good.
How's everyone's at home?
We're not worried about that. Right, I'm just gonna shove that last bit there. Good. Right. I know performances will tell me to slow down because I don't say this. So we'll give you a minute. Don't forget your potatoes. I'm just going to show you what mine are looking right now. Mine are looking nice and crispy. I'm going to just try one more fingers. Come on. And just check it's not hard in the middle. Perfect. So, if yours are done to save washing up, you could put them now. You could, if you want, if you didn't have another frying pan, you could just plonk them in a plate on a plate or something. Okay. In fact, I'm going to do that. No, I'm not. I'm going to leave mine there. Mine are done. But if you're running out of pans, you can just put them to one side. If you're feeling very health conscious, you can put them on a bit of paper towel to sort of get some of the oil off. But we didn't put too much oil in there. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in my potatoes as well. Just a little tad of salt just to season it up as well. So you've got your potatoes going on there, and all you need now is another frying pan on a sort of medium heat with another bit of oil in the pan. Okay, so I'm going to use one of my hobs that was already on, which was that back one. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to put a little bit of oil in there. And away we go. So I've got potatoes that are ready. Put the pan on there.
It's on the heat?
Yeah, put it on the heat, sort of medium heat. I'm just going to have one more bite of this. Right, so we need the chopping board back. It's fine, we can use the same chopping board as before. Don't think there's any health and safety reasons why we can't do that.
Chop tomatoes on it.
So I'm going to stick my bread over there. Just absorb to clear up later. Tomato, you could use your tomato in this recipe if you want to. You could use that. You might want to add a bit of a
Mrs.
freestyle,
Edwards. Mrs. Edwards has just commented that the poached egg with maple bacon was delicious. She loved that.
Happy days. So, I need to get my head going here. Right, what we need some onion and we need some bacon.
So now for the main, yes?
Yes, this is the main. So, I've got a bit more bacon. You can put anything in this Spanish omelette. So if you don't want to use bacon, you just use bacon. Don't use bacon. I'm going to use onion and bacon because I like onion and bacon. You could use pepper, you could use mushrooms, you could use spring onions, you could put anything in it, Mr. Moore. You could put some leftover chicken from your roast dinner or something. You can put your tomato in there, but I'm going to go with onion and I'm going to go with bacon. So I'm going to use about a quarter of an onion, and I'm just going to dice this again. We don't want big bits of onion here. No one wants that in their omelette. So we're just going to finely chop up very carefully. Make sure you've got a sharper knife than I've got. Okay, so we're going to get our onion there, and we're going to stick it into our pan. Some of it went in So just to show the camera there, just some finely chopped up onion, you can just about see, and then fry it, but don't let that hob's a bit high again. You just want to fry it gently there. And then to that, I'm going to use Mr. Moore's tip about using scissors. So I've still got my scissors, and I'm going to put some bacon in. Excuse me. Similar size bacon to Mr. Moore used before. If you're really healthy, you can get rid of the fat. Fat means flavour, I think. So we're going to not worry about that here. I'm going to use just about 2 rashers of bacon. You could use more, but you can throw anything into your omelette at this stage. And then just keep stirring that and keep an eye on bacon. And if you're still heating your potatoes, don't forget about that. Okay, so we've got all that under control as well. That's okay. Right, so sizzling. So I'm going to speak a bit louder, I think, because we've got quite a lot going on in the kitchen here. So, meanwhile, I'll just wait for Mr. Moore and wait for those people at home. So just keep moving that around so it doesn't get burnt. You want a nice sizzle, but you don't want to keep going too hot in that pan. Okay, right. So, next stage, we need some eggs for omelette. So, again, I said this was for, I mean, we've just had a starter, so we can't just eat all day, Mr. Moore. I've also had a chocolate brownie this morning from Mrs. Ryder. I don't know if you got into that. Put 3 whole eggs into, I'm just going to use, I'm just going to use a measuring jug. So we're going to put 3 eggs and just crack those eggs. So we're going to crack 3 eggs into my measuring jug. You can use a bowl, it really doesn't matter what you're going to use at this point. Yeah, but can you get one-handed, Mr. Moore?
I can, but I tend to throw a bit of shell into it.
That's a part of it. Try it. Let's give it a go. No, I'm not going to do that.
Oh, look at that. There we go.
Oh, there's a lot of shell in there. Did you know how to get rid of shell, Mr. Moore? With more shell.
I'm shellless.
Right. So I'm going to get rid of, I've got a bit of a messy work surface going on here. So I'm going to get rid of my eggs, get rid of my onion skin. So I'm just checking on my bacon, which is going along really nicely there. And my potatoes, which are all good. So to my eggs, if you want to bulk it up a bit more, sometimes you put a little bit of milk in there. Yeah. We're not going to do that today, but we're going to put a little bit of salt. And I think we're a bit short on the old pepper, but I do like pepper. Yeah, definitely need some more pepper. But a little bit of pepper in there. And then we're going to grate some cheese. Okay. So I've just got normal cheddar cheese. I think you've got some cheese over there somewhere.
Yep.
So just save a little bit back, but we're going to grate the cheese straight into your egg mix.
Straight into it.
Yeah, straight in there. Don't have to use cheese again, just for a little bit of extra flavour. There we go. I'm going to save just a little bit of that cheese for a bit. Check on my bacon. How's your bacon around you getting on?
Yeah, looking good. Looking good. Yours was a little bit crispy than mine.
Yeah, I'll turn yours up a little bit more. Now we need a fork. Here we go. Here's my fork. And we're just going to mix up this egg mixture here. And again, remember I said you could add a little bit of milk. You could add some, if you want to do it as spice, you could add some into your egg mix. Put your. So I've got, here we go. So should we do a little recap? I know Mrs. Law will be through the door in a minute, so we'll do a little recap. So what we've got is, we've had our starter, which is delicious. We've got our potatoes that should be looking nice and browned off like that were cooked in oil. We've got another pan where we've got our onion and our bacon that's been frying off there. We've got a jug or a bowl which has got some egg, 3 eggs I used, some salt and pepper, and a bit of grated cheese. I'm thinking, Mr. Moore, just thinking, because I've got quite a big pan here, and because we've got quite a lot of eggs, I'm sure we've got some pancake stuff. I'm just going to put another egg in there. Okay, don't worry, my omelet's going to be a bit thin, so I don't know whether you want to do the same. I'll leave that up to you. But I'm going to put
a little smaller. I think 3 should be okay.
Okay. Whisk that all up. at this point, just because my potatoes have been on the heat for a while, I'm just going to put my potatoes into my pan with my bacon and onion and warm them up again and heat that all through and mix it all up. So we've got our bacon, onion and potatoes now all going along nicely. I'll put that in the washing up bowl. And we need to now turn on our grills. Right, okay, so the grill, make sure. So, no idea, Mr. Moore, how to do this over here.
Right, if you turn the right hand knob onto max.
Yeah.
And then turn the left hand knob 3 clicks to the left.
Is it the one? Do you want to just pop round tonight? I shall social distance from you, Mr. Moore, but you're going to just pop round and check my grill is on.
Charlie Rocket's mum
That's it.
just said they're having a brilliant time, but it's an absolute mess.
Yeah, we like a messy kitchen. It's all part of the fun. Mrs. Brockett, you'll soon be having Charlie back at school, so you won't have to worry about this anymore. Right, so we've got that heat, so we're still on the heat. It's important we've got like a medium heat here. We don't want to have it too hot, but we certainly don't want it too hot. So you should see a little bit of sizzle. Yours is looking good there. Are you happy with your bacon?
Yeah.
Right, good. So this is where it all happens. So at this point, we're going to put our egg mixture into the pan, and then we're going to swizzle it around. So it's important that all the egg spreads around all of the pan. Okay, so we're just going to pour it in, straight in there, cheese and all, and then just give it a little, let me just show you on the camera there. So we've just made sure that the eggs coated all of the pan. And once it's evenly spread out about the pan, just leave it on the heat for now. Don't need to do anything else.
I'm going to add a couple of bits of tomato in mine, I think.
Freeze off. I wonder if there's anything in the fridge we could add. Probably not. Any other ingredients? I would have a little look. You never know what we might find in that fridge.
Red pepper.
Red pepper. You stick a bit of red pepper in there.
It is.
Okay. Stick a bit of red pepper. Let's put a bit of colour in yours. Probably could have fried that off earlier, but it doesn't matter. We can just stick it in there because we'll put it under the grill in a moment. So we're just leaving that, and then what I'm going to do with that bit of cheese I had left over, I'm just going to put a little bit more cheese on the top, which you'll see why in a moment. Okay. It's all right, Charlie. Our kitchen is an equal mess, I think. So I'm just going to turn mine up a little bit. So I can see Mr. Moore's is going on lovely there. But I can't see any sizzle going on in mine. So
You grate your cheese on the top.
I'll put a bit more cheese on the top, that's right. I need my spatula, which I've washed up just over here. I've got my serving plate in a moment. So we've got the camera zooming in here, so we've got something that looks like that. You can see the egg's a little bit runny on top, but that's fine, because that's where we're going to use the grill. If we could just zoom in on Mr. Moore's, because Mr. Moore's is ready for the next stage. As you can see, the eggs have set a little bit more on Mr. Moore's. So when you're at a stage like Mr. Moore's is, you're going to put your omelette now straight under the grill. Okay, just up on the top. Mine's not far off. And then get yourself a plate. Now, I can't remember what it was you cooked with your starter. Your secret ingredient the other week was your tomato sauce.
Oh yeah.
The Jeffreys do not eat this meal without ketchup. Okay. So fortunately, it's not Heinz, but we don't mind. I raided the staff room and I found that tomato ketchup. I'm not sure how long that's been in there. But we're going to give that a go. So mine is just about ready now, I think, to go under the grill. So, put mine under the grill, Mr. Moore's under the grill. Mr. Moore, you'll see that your omelette is ready when it's no longer running. So yours won't be far off. I'm going to just keep my pan on just in case I need to finish it off in a moment. Should we do one more recap whilst we're here?
Why not? Why not?
Right, so, 2 dishes, poached egg on toast, Spanish omelette. We diced the potatoes and we fried them off in oil, which took probably about 20 minutes. That's why we did that first. Mr. Moore.
We then boiled the kettle for the poached egg whilst then toasting. Egg almost done. I reckon about 10 minutes for a poached egg, depending on the size of the egg and the heat you've got it on. The boiling water went into a frying pan. I prefer a frying pan because you can get the spatula underneath the egg to get it out better. My tip is to crack the egg into a pastry cutter so the egg doesn't disperse, but obviously that you'll be limited to how many pastry cutters you've got. And then we also fried some bacon and some tomatoes in some maple syrup as a mid layer on the toast, and then we spoon or spatula the egg onto the toast.
Happy days. And then we made sure we were checking our potatoes, then we fried off in a pan some onions, some bacon, and at that point we could have added anything we want. We went tomatoes, peppers, but you can freestyle at home, and I look forward to hearing what you've done. We have an egg mixture, which I used 4 eggs in the end, a bit of cheese, salt and pepper, whisked it all together, and then when everything was cooked, put it into the pan. And then, I don't know what you're thinking, Mr. Moore.
Mine's not far off, actually.
Can't see it in
Mine's
far.
not far off.
I'm pretty happy with mine as well. Huh? So I'm going to turn my grill off before I forget.
I'm just hoping these food tech pans are not going to fail us and it comes out in one go.
Well, don't really want to see.
Have we got plastic handles?
So just to check mine's done, I'm just going to. Oh yeah, no, mine is done. So I've put my spatula through the middle, and it's not runny. It wouldn't matter if it was a bit runny. And one thing I forgot to say, Mr. Moore, is this is lovely cold. So I'm going to eat some of this for my lunch, and then we can always have it tomorrow. So here we go. This is what we've got. So I'm going to. What are you going to do? You're going to take yours is a bit small one, so you can take the whole thing out in one go.
I'm going to try and get it all out, slide it out. It's a bit deeper than the pan.
There we go. I've gone for a
Let's see if I can get
slice.
it in one go.
Well, you do that, Mr. Moore. So here we go. So I've done a little triangle slice there. Oh, look at that, Mr. Moore. So do you want to hold that up to the camera?
There we go.
Happy days. So ketchup. I've gone ketchup, but you've got enough flavours in there. So there we go. So I think we need to try.
Absolutely.
Whew.
I'm used to it.
I think I need to breathe. Where's my fork gone? Oh, here we are.
So, Mr. Jeffrey, I would say my background is probably similar to yours. And my mum is not a particularly good cook. She burns water, and my dad wouldn't know how to cook her on. So my girl said to me, "Daddy, how come you're such a good cook?" And I said, "Well, I wouldn't have myself as a good cook, competent. But one thing I remember doing when I was at school, I had a fantastic food tech teacher, and one thing she did, she inspired me: give it a go. Just give it a go. Yeah, if it doesn't work, this is how all the good recipes come about. People giving it a go."
So same here. So I remember when it came to GCSE options back in the day, and I had to choose between woodwork or home economics, and I was awful at woodwork, so I went for home economics, and then I really enjoyed it. And then when I first got together with Mrs. Jeffrey, I was basically useless around the house, but because I did the cooking, I got away with murder. So I used to do the cooking, she used to do everything else, and now it doesn't quite work out like that now. We share things evenly as we should, but at the weekends I really do enjoy cooking. Good thing. So how's your omelette?
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Happy days. Potatoes,
Spot on.
nice touch. So, I don't know what on earth the time is. It could be quarter past 12, it could be 2
Quarter to
o'clock.
one.
Quarter to 1.
Just enough time for all the washing up.
Yeah, I've got a lot of washing out to do. So, I loved last Wednesday afternoon. I absolutely loved seeing all of the pictures of you guys at home making your dishes, putting your little twist on things. So please do send them, and then we can put them in the newsletter. And it made it feel really worthwhile.
There was loads of them. They're absolutely brilliant to see. People giving it a go.
And then we've got our suggestions for next week. We've had Mrs. Law's suggestion, well, sort of suggestion.
Demand.
So we go one more time next Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday, everyone will be back at school.
Back in.
Happy days. So, have a good rest of the day. What have we got coming up this afternoon?
Well, we've had a really successful morning, by the way. We had about 200 people online, or families, excuse me, plus those in school for stories, and there were 2 excellent books. So I'm going to send out the links to those so that if you wanted to see what happens next. We also all discovered that Mr. Miller is really good at a dog voice impression, which nobody knew. And Miss Lalloway reported that all the dogs in her house went ballistic when Mr. Miller was doing the dog impression.
I didn't see that. Is it?
Oh, it's near the end.
No.
No, it wasn't. It was really good. And then we made some divers and some lava lamps in science, and that was fantastic. And if you missed that or you didn't have the equipment gathered, we'll send you the recording to give it a try. This afternoon at 2:15, we have art with Mrs. Ryder. There is an assembly linked for you to watch by 5CN and Mrs. Noakes.
That's a cracking assembly. I've watched
Yeah,
that.
so make sure you watch that after you've had your lunch at 2. And then at just before 3 o'clock, we'll send you the codes for your STEM bridge building challenge. So there's 2 more lessons this afternoon and an assembly. All of the lessons this afternoon will come on Google Meet. So type those codes in carefully and you'll find the codes in your email.
Mrs. Law, I have a Scooby-Doo impression.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're going to be in competition now with Mr. Miller.
Yikes!
I think that's going to be the best part of everyone's day. I don't know. I don't know.
Anyway, on that note, enjoy the rest of the day. We'll see you next Wednesday, and then we'll see
Send your photos.
the week after. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Oh.